Christopher and Rebecca Laundrie. We are writing this letter to ask you to help find our daughter. We understand you are going through a difficult time and your instinct is strong to protect your son. We ask you to put yourselves in our shoes. We haven't been able to sleep or eat, and our lives are falling apart. We believe you know the location of where Brian left Gabby. We beg you to tell us. As a parent, how could you let us go through this pain and not help us? As a parent, how could you put Gabby's younger brothers and sisters through this? Gabby lived with you for over a year. She's going to be your daughter-in-law. How can you keep her location hidden? You were both at Jim and Nicole's house. You were both so happy that Brian and Gabby got engaged and were planning to spend their lives together. Please, if you or your family have any decency left, please tell us where Gabby is located. Tell us if we are even looking in the right place. All we want is for Gabby to come home. Please help us make that happen. And that was from Jim Schmidt, Nicole Schmidt, Joe Petito, and Tara Petito. At this time, I'll take some questions.
Rick, what do you make of, or how is the family feeling about the release of this body camera video that shows this fight between them?
The family's not going to discuss any facts or anything to do with the relationship between Gabby and Brian. They were asked by the FBI to not discuss that.
Can they talk about how they feel seeing their daughter?
Listen.
And she's obviously upset on the video.
The family is devastated. Every day that this goes on, they get more and more desperate. They're at the point that desperation is turning to anger. They know that the Laundries know where their daughter is, and they will not tell them. That's infuriating. Yes.
Have they been able to locate her cell phone, and when did they become aware of the August phone?
I'm not going to talk about what the FBI is doing and what their investigation is. All I know is that the FBI and the law enforcement agencies that are handling this are the best in the country, and I'm sure they're doing a great job.
When did the lawyers last speak to the Laundrie family, whether Brian, Chris, or Roberta?
I know they reached out on Friday the 10th, and I believe again on the 11th, and the Laundries refused to answer those. They stayed silent. And as you know from the Northport Police Department's press conference, I think it was yesterday, that Brian was back in Northport, Florida on September 1st. So that was over a week later. And
Can you provide a little bit more of a characterization of what the message was to the Laundries at that time?
I will not.
Ms. Sauber, just to get a little bit of a timeline, how long was the couple on Long Island before they headed to Wyoming, and where did they go along the way? So we kind of have an idea more about the trip.
I know they were out here. Gabby's brother had a graduation from a local high school, from their school, and she came up for that to spend time with their family. And then I believe on July 2nd, they began their trip.
When did the parents become aware of the incident on August 12th?
I'm sorry.
The incident on August 12th.
They become aware.
I'm not going to discuss when they became aware of the videos or anything to do with the videos. Thank you.
Were they aware of the incident? Were they aware of the incident at any time with August 13th, 14th, 15th? Were they aware that that happened?
Again, we're not going to discuss anything about that incident. We were asked by the FBI to not discuss it.
Okay, in regard to the presser today.
Mr. Schmidt, can you give us the latest on him? Is he working on some type of a search, a grid search?
Jim Schmidt is out in Wyoming, as you guys know. He felt he needed to be there. We have family in New York and in Florida, and he felt he needed to be out there to be the contact person as well as to do what he can out in Wyoming. I'm not going to get into his specifics, what he's doing, but again, the whole Petito and Schmidt family is doing everything they can to find Gabby.
In regard to the Florida presser, the police chief agreed that today. He said that Landry's lawyer provided some property that they requested. Do you know anything about that?
We don't know anything about that. Again, I'm not going to comment on what the police are doing. I know they're doing a great job. And I just hope everyone, again, pulls together and helps us find Gabby. And again, from what I've been seeing for the last few days, everyone is doing that, but Brian and his family.
In regard to the questions they were asking about ADD, not ADD, the mental OCD and the conditions or the disorder that she was referring to. Is there any comment on that?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Remember the August 30th text? Is there any other, she had implied she had received a message on August 30th, but wouldn't detail it. Can we talk about that now?
I'm not going to get into the content of the message. I believe that's out there. It could be, but what I will say is that the Petito and Smith family don't believe that message was sent from Gabby.
And just to separate, they were engaged. We've heard kind of varying things, but according to the letter, they were at the time of, as of 2 weeks ago, were they still engaged?
It's my understanding they were engaged, and I know they decided with the pandemic they couldn't have a wedding or the wedding they wanted, so that was put on hold, and they decided to go on their trip instead.
And was the plan eventually to drive back in the van? I know Portland, Oregon was like, I think one of the final destinations. They mentioned maybe California and the body cam video, but was the plan to always come back in the van together?
From what I know, they were going to go to Oregon on by October 2nd, and they were going to spend time there. I don't know what they planned on that afterwards, but I do know that since they were supposed to be out there till August 2nd, Brian's family knew that when he showed up on September 1st, that, they knew that was against their plan. And again, when the police showed up over a week later, they already had an attorney's name and contact information for the police. So again, we're asking the Laundrie family to come forward and tell us what you know. Tell us at least where to look.
And with the August 30th text, I know you can't say what it is, but what about it made it pretty clear to the mom it's not her daughter? Was it just not the way she usually speaks? Can you just characterize it a little bit?
I'm not going to get into that. I'm just going to say the family doesn't believe that was her with the text. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. And I do have copies of the letter, and I can hand them out.
Thank you.
Richard, I go by Richard.
All right, so once again, the family's attorney speaking out, issuing that statement. Again, they had wrote that letter pleading with Brian Laundrie's family to do anything to help them find Gabby, even to help them know of her last location. And again, the last time they had heard from Gabby, her mother doesn't believe that it was truly her in that text message. So a lot of questions continue to surround. And we're taking a look at some of that video footage. This is that body camera footage from Utah police after there had been that incident between the couple. And there's just been a lot of unanswered questions at this time, as you heard them mention. As soon as they did have police try to reach out to Brian Laundrie, ask him where Gabby was, he had already had a lawyer that he told police that he could contact them through. So again, one parent's plea to another parent saying, this was going to be your daughter-in-law. Please, I plead with you, we beg with you to have any information shared with us. And so we'll continue to follow this case right here on Live Now from Fox as, again, attorneys speaking out for that family, issuing that statement as they continue to try to search for Gabby, who has been missing, reported missing since September 11th. Again, though Laundrie did return from his trip back on September 1st. So we do know at this time that he is at home with his parents in Florida, and Gabby's last known location was at a national park in Utah. So again, August 25th, last known location, Grand Teton National Park. What I'm going to do is, as we continue to try to learn more about